This is the story of a trophy for the world. A journey. A dream.
Twelve years after the Qatar was awarded the hosting right of the 2022 World Cup, since then, 12 years ago, it has been marked down that yes, one day the World Cup will be held in Qatar. And since that 12 years, now we have started counting the days, and now it's just 3 days to the ultimate event. That's how I welcome you to this today edition of the Sport Hobby. I am Salihu Usman, and with me in the studio is Fideli Ohakome, who is just making a return for the sport of it after a while. We are finally bringing him back again.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Salif. I don't know, it seems like I always make a return on the show, but by the way, good afternoon, sports fans out there. The World Cup seemed like it was never going to come, but then it's just a matter of days now, and it will be upon us.
Yeah, it's just a matter of days. And in our countdown to the 2022 World Cup, we take a look at the final two Group G and H. What do they stand and what is their chances of the World Cup? We start with Group G, wins house Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Brazil has always been a regular appearance at every World Cup. Qatar 2020 will make their 21st appearance in the World Cup. And in between, they have won the title 5 times. But the last time they do so was 2002 in Korea, Japan. That is almost 20 years now. And the question is many leaves now. Will Brazil win their 6th World Cup? Everybody have said that Brazil are the favorite to win this World Cup. And playing there, but first they have to navigate their way out of Group G, which has Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. These are Fidelis. What is your looking at this World Cup? Brazil has always been irregular. Every World Cup, you always see them as a favorite to win the World Cup. But after winning 2002 in Korea, Japan, 2022 edition look like their most favorite chances, and they are ranked number first in the world. How do you see the Brazil chances of this Brazil chances in Group G, the World Cup?
Quite frankly, I think in the first place, I would say it's good seeing them on the number one spot again after Belgium has taken that spot for quite some time. Even though there were several debates like, come on, how can Belgium be number one in the world when we have teams like Brazil and Argentina? But then, for Brazil, they are back to the number one spot, and they are 5 times world champion. And looking at this Qatar 2022 for that Group G, obviously for every sport fans out there, I think what the issue would be is which team would go with Brazil to the next round of 16, because obviously Brazil, they are the favorites to top that particular group, and looking at the quality of players they have in this currently, that the quality of players that they will be featuring in this current World Cup, apart from topping the group, like you rightly said, they are the favorites to win this year's World Cup. Look at the quality of their players. You have Neymar, you have Vinicius Junior, you have Anthony, you have a lot of players from top teams all over the world. So I think they are the favorites to win the World Cup without any argument. And we hope they will be able to lay their hands on their 6th world title at this time, because like you rightly pointed out, it's been quite a long time since they last held that world title. So we just hope they will be able to get their hands on the trophy at this time in the Qatar 2022.
The last time Brazil won this World Cup, present squad of Brazil players if some of them may not have, there's 20 years ago, some of them are relatively, most of them are relatively young. The most senior players in that team is Dennis Alve and Tony Silva, who are about 34 and 35.
Yeah.
Probably they are just about 15 years old or 30 years old when Brazil first win that World Cup. Some of the players in the team may have just even at their kindergarten age. Now, and looking at this team, everybody, if you look at Neymar has also come out to say that he cannot guarantee play in the next World Cup.
Sure.
And ultimately, he is still very young, but this may look like his World Cup based on his own prediction. So do you see Neymar going down to join the likes of other Brazilian players or any other player, other top player who may not have played the World Cup? Do you think Brazil, Neymar will definitely add World Cup trophy to his?
Quite frankly, in this particular World Cup, there will be a lot of talking points. A lot of talking points. Like Neymar has come out to say that this might be his last World Cup, which we don't know yet if he will still feature in subsequent World Cup after this one. But for now, he says this might be his last World Cup. And talking about the Brazil team, they have a lot of young players, which of course have something to prove.
Yeah.
They all have something to prove. Even some of them, which of course this is their first World Cup, they would like to show themselves to the world, show the quality that they have to the world. And for players like Daniel Alves, which of course this might still be his
for sure.
His
last
World Cup. There won't be anything bad with rounding up their career with a World Cup trophy. You understand? So I think almost the whole of the Brazilian team, they all have something to prove in this World Cup. And for Neymar, I think he's been trying his best. He hasn't really had much of international honors to his name, and this would be a very good chance for him to show himself and try to at least get his hands on this World Cup. Even though there are players like Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, quite quality players who, of course, wants to round up their career with a World Cup. So I think Neymar would want to have it though, but then it will come with a serious competition. He has to be at his best, and also with his team, they have to be at their best if they are going to lay their hands on this particular World Cup.
But if you are talking about the Brazil attacking line, if you are just like the Brazil attacking line, it's all about Neymar, then you are totally wrong. Right?
Sure.
They have a whole lot of strikers,
a whole lot of players. Rodrigo is there,
Vinicius of Real Madrid, and the rest of them. Then the next team in that group is our next neighbor, Cameroon. They are going to seven. They have been to the World Cup 7 times, but their best performance at the World Cup was 1999, where they get to the quarterfinal of the World Cup. They are the first African team to get to the quarterfinal. But since then, Cameroon has always been get out of the preliminary round of the competition. And if you look at the Cameroon squad at the moment, a whole lot of people have looked at the squad. If you look at their performance at the last Africa Cup of Nations as a host, they were fantastic in the group stage, getting to the semi-final. But in the semi-final, ultimately they lost their semi-final match to Egypt. And now they have a chance. They are going to the World Cup, where the coach Robert has come out to say categorically that they have a chance to win this World Cup. Not even to say he has to do it. They predict that he has a chance to do it. Even the president of Qatar, the Cameroon football president, Samuel Eto'o, the legend, the African legend, has also come out that football is not all about when you have all the stars in your squad. He will give an example of 2009 when Inter Milan surprisingly win the Champions League without much to talk about areas of several names of stars. He alluded that all you need to do is just a collective play as a team. And even from the Cameroon, most of the Cameroon fans and even the Cameroon don't believe that the Cameroon has a team to do well at the World Cup. They were just announced that maybe Robert Son and Samuel Eto'o see something different that they don't see. What do you see the chance of Cameroon at this World Cup? They have what it takes to qualify for this Group G that has the like of Serbia, the likes of Brazil and Switzerland.
Of course, the World Cup is a competition which comprises of the best from different continents, and of course, Cameroon is one of the best in Africa. So I think Samuel Eto'o and of course their coach Rigobert Song is not far from the truth with what they are saying, that the team has the potential, to come out as winners of that competition. And quite frankly, I think this is the time for Africans to get away with those issues of inferiority complex. This is not the time to be inferior against your foreign counterpart, you know. And like Samuel Eto'o rightly said, sometimes it's not really about the team, your team. One thing about football is that surprises can happen. We, as a nation, Nigeria, we've seen small teams surprise our own Super Eagles. And I think the height of it is the Super Eagles not even qualifying for the World Cup. Even with all the goals we had that they were going to qualify for the World Cup, but at the end, we were disappointed. So any team can pull up surprises in football. So Samuel Eto'o may not be wrong. And for Cameroon, I think they have all the potentials to lay their hands on that trophy. You know, the best they've been is the quarterfinal. And now we just hope they'll be able to push it a bit further to the semi-final. And then to the final. You never can tell. They can do it. They were the host of the last Nations Cup. And you see how well they performed. They were able to get into the semi-final of the competition. So I think if they bring down every sort of inferiority complex and all that, I think they can be able to put it right.
Just don't direct yourself and don't pull yourself down before anybody. Just inferiority complex. But if you look at Cameroon squad, if you look at the players, or they are star players. Abubakar, who is their main captain and their main strike, play in the Saudi league, but you don't even have a star player who play in a recognized league, top league in the world, or top club. But and at the same time, if you look at the in as much it's a good idea, and I want to so happy that yes, an Africa team is an Africa team in the World Cup. Because Son, who is the coach, doesn't have any experience as a coach. The experience he had was to handle the under 23 team of Cameroonian team, which he could not even qualify them for Africa or the Nations Cup. And all of a sudden, he was handed the Cameroon team, the Midtjylland Lions of Cameroon, to take them to the World Cup. And that is that's what a whole lot of people in Cameroon have seen that be great. The opposite that Cameroon is over. So in as much it's an experienced player, one of their legends, but you don't have the experience, coaching experience to be among the best coaches and to be in the World Cup. But
anything is possible.
Anything is possible in the game of football. Then in the group, still group G, we have Serbia. Serbia is ranked 21st in the world by the global ranking. They have been to Serbia. They have been to the World Cup previously, but their best performance at the World Cup, their best performance at the World Cup has always been not too impressive. They have won the World Cup. They have been to the semi-final 2 times, and those 2 times they went to the World Cup. Severally, the last time, those 2 times they went to the semi-final of the World Cup, I can confidently say that none of the players, even their father self, even the president, I don't know the present age of the Serbian president, but even the current president of Serbia may not have even born their time. But the last time they went to the World Cup was 1962. The first was 1930 and then 1962. And now they are in the World Cup again and hosting the house with the Switzerland, Cameroon, and do you think they have what to take?
It's quite a tough team for them. But then for that group, I don't see any team coming out to compete with Brazil for who would top the group. And then for Serbia, I think they have a fair chance against Switzerland and Cameroon for who would be second on the table. And also to be frank, I think that's the reason for the group stages of the competition like this, because at the end of the group stage, that's where you get to shake off, separate the boys from the men and know who progresses to the next round of the competition. So we just wish them the best in the competition.
Then the next person in that group was Switzerland. Switzerland has been to the World Cup 11 times separately, but their best performance at the World Cup was in the quarterfinal, which the last time they get to the quarterfinal was 1954. But ever since then, they have always been a serious edge from the group stage, and now they are in the competitions again. Here in Qatar, in the same group with Qatar. So let me just put you on this. Looking at this group, we have already given to Brazil. Brazil, they may qualify from that group. So who do you think? Cameroon, Serbia, and Switzerland who progress to the next round of this competition?
Okay, for Switzerland, we have a man there, Akanji. Is it Akanji? Yeah, we have a Nigerian player there, the name of Akanji. Fortunately for him, he was called up for the World Cup for Switzerland, so he will be featuring in the World Cup. And for the second spot in the group, I think I will have to give it to Cameroon. Let's just not give it that to.
Fideli is trying to be just be a friendly neighbor. Well, we'll be going for a short break for a while. When we return, then we'll look at the next group of the final group of the World Cup.
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Well, welcome back from that short break. We will be heading to the final group of the 2022 World Cup. We're going to look at which is Group H. Group H, which house Portugal, Ghana, Canada. And if you look at that group, Portugal, definitely everybody will look at Portugal as a favorite to progress of that group. Portugal are coming to this group as a favorite. But one thing we have to know about the Portugal that despite that the Portuguese have having a player, one of the renowned stars, a global icon in the person of Ronaldo, Portugal has always find it difficult to go beyond the second round of the World Cup stage. And the 2022 World Cup, whatever any magic, whatever may happen, in as much as Cristiano Ronaldo, nobody expects him to play to this level in 34, but he's still playing at the highest level. But I can't believe either Ronaldo will still be as active as he is in the next World Cup at the US-Mexico 2026. This would ultimately, just like Messi, this will ultimately be the last World Cup for Cristiano Ronaldo. And be as an hungry player he was, will Ronaldo going to end his career without a World Cup trophy? So, but first, before he can even dream of getting the World Cup trophy in Qatar, he has to navigate his way out from group that has Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea Republic. Looking at this group, Ronaldo's and his Portugal group will have to have Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea to contend in this group. What do you think is the chance of Portugal in this group?
Well, Ronaldo, like you said, he's not getting any younger, and like I talked about earlier, this very World Cup, a lot of players want to give him everything to make sure they win. And of course, Ronaldo is one of those players because he's certainly going to be his last World Cup. So, looking at this group, personally, even before now, Portugal, they've had Nani. They've had Nani in the past. They had lots of quality players, and up till now, they've still not been able to win the World Cup. So, quite frankly, if they were to have been a World Cup winner, I think that would have come even before now. But it seems all this way, I don't know if it be luck or anything. I don't know what it is, but unfortunately, they've not been able to win any World Cup. And now Ronaldo will of course want to put in all his best to make sure they win this very competition. But then they still have a quality team. You have Ronaldo there. You have his Manchester United counterpart.
Fred.
Yes. Yeah. So they have some quality players.
Fred and even the Silvers of the Manchester City.
Yeah, they have some quality players. And surely you can't take away the quality of players they have. But then talking about this group, Uruguay, they have Luis Suarez as well. Everybody, apart from maybe if you want to play down any team in this group, that would be not North Korea. But for the other three, I think they have the capacity to top the group. So, like you said, the first thing for Ronaldo would be to qualify from the group. And quite frankly, if they will have to qualify from this group, I don't see them qualifying as group toppers. They might come second, but I don't see them qualifying as group toppers in this.
Well, Fidel says you don't see Ronaldo's Portugal qualifying as a group topper, but if you look at, just like you said, if you look at Ronaldo, Portugal, they have produced several key players, quality players in the past, and if they have been a top high performing team in the world, if you look at the team, and if they have supposed to have won the World Cup, they have even won it earlier than now. For instance, in 2006 World Cup in Germany was supposed to be Portugal's right chance to win the World Cup. That's after the Europe 2004, which they dominated and get to the final before they surprisingly lose the final to the Greece, which is the host. But in the Greece 2004 final Europe final, everybody see Portugal as the winner, and that's when the Ronaldo was even young. I was coming off that time. And in 2006 World Cup, everybody believed that they are going to get to the final. Ultimately, they don't even go beyond the round of 16, which they lost to round of 16. And now here, just like we say, this will be going to be the last World Cup for Ronaldo. Apart from Ronaldo, Portugal has its no lot of players. They have this one, but either they are going to win this World Cup, but they have to get their way out of the group stage that has Ghana, and their first match is against Ghana. So the next group of that, we also look at our next neighbor, Ghana. Ghana stopped Nigeria from qualifying for the World Cup. Many Nigeria, in as much as there's idea of full phase of World Cup across the world, Nigerian fans are not feeling either there's anything like World Cup coming because Nigeria is not going because Ghana stopped us from going to the World Cup on away go rule. If you look at Ghana, they have been to the World Cup. They are going to their World Cup for their fourth World Cup, and Ghana is one of the top African teams who have made appreciable performance at the World Cup. At the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, Ghana surprisingly gets to the quarterfinal. If not because of the hand of God of Luis Suarez, Ghana would have been the first African team to get to the semi-final. And 2008, they didn't make it. They didn't qualify. Yeah. And if you look at their performance at the last Africa Cup of Nations in early this year, Cameroon, it is not anything to write home about. Everybody was dissatisfied with the way Ghana performed. Ghana could not even get to the group stage. They even struggled to just manage to win the match at the Africa Cup of Nations. And now, but surprisingly, where everybody were writing Ghana off, that Ghana is off, they surprisingly stopped Nigeria, who everybody's hope was ideal owner of that ticket. And now they are the World Cup. They have Uruguay, and this could be another revenge for them. But what they have Uruguay in their court, they'll remember what the Suarez does to them. So, do you think Ghana has what it takes to progress from this group?
Yeah, like you rightly pointed out, I think for the Ghanaians, they can forget anything, but surely what you call the hand of God of Luis Suarez, I think they will not forget that. Even while the very day the draw was made, when they were paired against Uruguay, everybody was like, "Wow, this is the best time for them to revenge against Luis Suarez for spoiling their chance of getting to the semi-final." And like you said, they would have been the first African team to have gotten to the semi-finals of the World Cup. So this might be a good time for them to revenge, but unfortunately, they seem not to be at their best at the moment. Maybe they were just lucky against Nigeria to have stopped Nigeria from going into the World Cup, but they've not been at their best. Looking at their play from the just concluded African Nations Cup, you can say that they've not been at their best. But then they had some time to train and prepare from when the World Cup, the Nations Cup ended to when the World Cup will be starting. They've had time to train, and I believe they've had some friendly matches played already. So I think there's still enough time for them to get together and make sure they get something.
If you look at the Ghana squad at the moment compared to what they have in 2010, in 2010 Ghana have some notable players. Asamoah Gyan, John Mensah, and several other players. But you can't see of the same of the current squad. The only recognized player you can name of the Ghanaian team at the moment is Thomas Partey, who play strongly in Arsenal midfield.
Yes.
And the Ayew brothers, who are also to be seen, as if you look at them, they have become even a shadow of themselves, too very heavy that they cannot even move themselves around. But surprisingly, yesterday Ghana gave a sign that give a chance and show Africa and show the world that what to expect from them at the World Cup by beating Switzerland 2-0 in the friendly playoff. That has sent a strong signal to Portugal that you should be careful. We are coming for you.
But then you have to also understand that in a World Cup like that, in a friendly match like that, every team will have to be careful. And given the fact that it's just a few days to the World Cup, every team will have to be careful to avoid injury and all those things. Like you see this guy on Sadio Mane now, there's doubts if he'll be able to to play at the World Cup, even though he was named on the squad, but then there's that time he'll be able to play at the World Cup. So, like you said, you can't compare this current Ghana team to what they had, talking about the likes of Asamoah Gyan, Mutari, and all that, who were at that time were top players in their respective clubs. So you can't compare the squad. But let's just hope that they will be able to do something. Partey is quite a quality player. Let's see how they will be able to synchronize, build a formidable team around themselves and go into the World Cup. But then this will be the best time for them to revenge on Luis Suarez from for stopping them from getting to the semi-finals.
Then the next people in that group is Uruguay. Uruguay has been, say, one of the top South American team, always ever present at the World Cup. And just like say at the South Africa 2010 World Cup, when they surprisingly knocked Ghana, stopped Ghana from getting to the semi-final, they get to the semi-final, and they ultimately lose the semi-final match. But at the end, they finish as a loser, second best loser, second runners up, and now they are here again. Then if you also, anytime you look at Uruguay, you always see them as a potential likely World Cup winner. But if you look at Uruguay, the collections of stars in Uruguay has also started dwindling. When you have the Fulhams and even the Suarez, Suarez is no longer the Suarez he used to be, and several others are also begin to drop in the form. So do you see Uruguay's current pose any challenge to the Ghanaians and because to the Portuguese and the rest in that group age?
Okay, for Uruguay, you can as well put them in almost the same position as Portugal. They've had some quality players in the past, but they've not been able to come up with a result, even with the players they have. They've had players like Cavani and all of that, and now they still have Edison Cavani. But unfortunately for the Uruguay, if you look at their forwards, the players who are no longer at their best at this time. Look at Luis Suarez, look at Edison Cavani. Aging is no longer on their side, and those two players, they are quite favorite to get their positions at the front line of the Uruguayan team, and they are not quite at their best at this time.
But if you talk of age, it's no longer as well. Sometimes football, I begin to see football that come with experience. For instance, if you look at Karim Benzema and that is one, see what he's doing in Real Madrid. Don't think that age may not be on their side, but experience-wise.
Sure, experience-wise. But then, if you look at this current World Cup, one thing is sure: every team wants to feature very smart and young players in their attack. You understand? Look at for France, they have Kylian Mbappe, Griezmann, Dembele, young players, who will be very smart, swift in attack. But for the Uruguayan team, you can't see a person like Luis Suarez or Edison Cavani chasing a young defender. They will just walk you over. So that's what I mean when I say age may not quite be on their side, because they may not be as swift as they used to be. But like you rightly said, experience also matters, and let's just hope they will be able to use their experience to get their team to the next round, because for now, all concentration will be how they will get their way through from the group stages into the round of 16.
Well, the last but not the least in that group is North Korea. North Korea, relatively unknown if you come to the football. But if you underrate North Korea and look at them, you may do so at your own peril. Don't think so. Or do you think North Korea will go into this party?
Surely they may not have quite an history in the World Cup. But then one thing you shouldn't bring into football is complacency. Don't write any team off. They can surprise you at the dying minute, And football is one game whereby just one goal can cause you any damage. You understand? So, and some teams this time, once they get that one goal, they are ready to build that wall of Jericho around their defense to make sure that you don't score. So North Korea can be one of those teams, if they can get that one goal against you, they match on their defense. So you don't have to write off any team. This is World Cup. Is the tournament and the competition of champions. So you don't have to write anybody off. For them to have been in the World Cup, it means they played well in their own continent and against their teams in the qualifying stages. So there was a qualifying stages into the World Cup. It means they played well for them to have qualified into the World Cup. So you don't have to write them off.
Yes, if you hear it, this is World Cup. It's the game of the best from every continent could come and converse in one zone to play. If you have for you to have qualified, if you are not the best from your zone, you not make it. So for even qualify alone is a big achievement. And anybody you see at the World Cup is one of the best at the World Cup. Don't mean that if you write anybody or you direct anybody, you are doing so at your own peril. That end our 2010 review of the group stage of the World Cup. But before we go, don't forget that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be going down later today against Portugal in a friendly encounter. Why everybody were hoping that Cristiano Ronaldo is going to start the match against the Nigerians, just like the Nigerian players have also dared the competitive that yes, we are going to the World Cup, we are not going to the World Cup, but we are going to show you that yes, if we have been at the World Cup, we will be one of the best in the team and we are going to beat Portugal. But unfortunately, Portugal are going to play without Ronaldo, but that will not understand the strength of the Portugal. And then Super Eagle captain Ahmed Musa has also urged all Africa team going to the World Cup. Yes, it's unfortunate that Nigeria is not going to the World Cup, but it's urging all Africa team that to make history at the World Cup. By making history simply mean that to get to the final of the World Cup. That is his advice to all the Africa team, and that is the most we can take. And by that, we'll bring to the end of this edition of the Sport Orbit. Until come your way again in the next edition. To remain out there, I am Salifu Usman, and then Fidelis, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Then goodbye.
This is the story of a trophy for the world. A journey. A dream.